What to review? You know what? I've been doing a lot of really intense action games lately. I'm kind of in the mood for something calm. Maybe a puzzle game like Eggerland Mystery. Let's see. What have I done? Welcome to Mike's Gaming Gala. I'm Mike, and this week we're looking at Eggerland Mystery for the Intellivision, published by Intellivision Revolution. Eggerland Mystery comes in a flip-top box with a manual, overlays, and a recycled cartridge. This was a choice of my members for me to review this month. If you want to participate in those polls, as well as get a couple other perks and support the channel, feel free to click that join button. The members are batting 1,000 on their picks. There hasn't been a bad one yet. Will Eggerland keep up the trend? Let's see. After the splash screen, we get a title menu with one simple option: Start. Pressing any button or the disc, and we're into the game. No backstory, no cutscene, right into the action. Eggerland Mystery is a port of the MSX game of the same name, which is the first of what's now more commonly known as the Adventures of Lolo series. Put simply, the goal of Eggerland Mystery is to collect all the jewels in each level to unlock the exit and then get to the door. On the left is a playfield, where all the action takes place. On the right is a status portion. Here, from top to bottom, there's the top score. Unfortunately, Eggerland doesn't save scores to the cartridge, so it'll only show your top score from that play session. If you're really proud of a score you get, take a picture. Then under that is your score in the current playthrough. At the bottom of the top box, from left to right, there's the amount of lives you have remaining, followed by the number of shots you have. We'll cover shooting later. Lastly, at the bottom of the stats side of the screen, we have a box that lets us know what level we're on. Like I said earlier, the goal in Eggerland Mystery is to collect all the jewels and make it to the exit to advance to the next level. Of course, this is easier said than done. Otherwise, we wouldn't have much of a game here. Stopping you from an easy walk through the park are physical obstacles and enemies. Starting with the physical obstacles, they really only come in two forms. The first are brick blocks. These form solid walls that can't be moved and will serve to shrink the amount of space that you can maneuver to solve each puzzle. The second are green blocks. Green blocks can be pushed to move them around the board, provided there's nothing behind them in the direction you're pushing. Green blocks can also be hiding the exit door, so if you don't see the exit when you start a level, look. They can only be pushed though, not pulled. So if you push one of these green blocks into a corner, you won't be able to move it anymore. The ability to move blocks into areas that mean that you can no longer access them does create situations where a level wouldn't be beatable. Thankfully, the game has a solution for that. If, at any time you want to reset the level, you can do so by pressing the 1 button on the number pad. This will cost you a life, but it reverts the level back to its beginning state, allowing you to tackle it again. Moving on to the enemies you'll encounter, there are 4 types, all with different abilities. The first are snakes. These guys are harmless, but they do block your way. Next are skulls. At first, you might think that these guys are the same as snakes because they're harmless. However, once you collect that last jewel in a level, they wake up and chase you. Third are dragons. Like the skulls, while the jewels are on screen, these guys won't hurt you. Grab that last jewel though, and they turn red. When in this state, crossing in front of them will result in them shooting fire at you. Remember though, as long as something is between you and the dragon, you're all good. And you can move the green blocks, so don't be a dummy like me and forget that second bit in round 3. I lost an embarrassing amount of lives before I was like, oh yeah. Moving on from my stupidity to the last enemy type, you'll encounter Medusa heads. Easily the deadliest foe in the game. Medusa never sleeps. She's lethal from the get-go. And unlike dragons who only fire in one direction, Medusa heads will kill you instantly if you cross their gaze, either vertically or horizontally. This means that you'll have to be very careful walking around each stage to make sure you don't get seen. Aside from moving blocks, you have one more ability that may or may not be applicable in any given stage. Some jewels will give you ammunition, allowing you to shoot enemies. An individual jewel will give you 2 shots, which you can keep track of on the right. Shooting an enemy once will encapsulate them in an egg temporarily. When in this state, enemies can be pushed around as if they were green blocks. However, if you want to make this attack more permanent, shooting them again while they're in the egg will knock them right off the playfield. There are 38 levels in Eggerland, and each one of them will require you to really think out your moves to ensure that you use the correct strategy. Many will require a combination of well-thought-out block movements, shots, and even deciding which jewels to pick up and when. After all, when you pick up the last jewel, everything wakes up. So you'll need to think ahead and have an escape strategy for when that happens. Now there's one last thing about Eggerland Mystery that I'm sure many will appreciate. That's the cheat mode. You start with 6 lives, and every time you beat a stage in the game, you get an extra life. I personally found this to be quite generous, as it even allowed me to have my continual brain fart in stage 3 without a game over. There's also no timer in Eggerland, so you can take as long as you want in each level without even moving if you don't want to. That said, having the safety net to ensure that you'll have a good time certainly doesn't hurt. So if you want to start with 99 lives instead of the usual 6, press 9 on the number pad at the title screen. A big red cheat shows up in the top right, but if you can get over that shame, you should have no problem beating the game with this amount of lives. And that's Eggerland Mystery for the Intellivision. So what did I think? Well, the source material here is great, and it's very well ported. I like puzzle games. Adventures of Lolo is a game I've played a lot of in the past and enjoyed, so being able to play the original for the first time is pretty cool. For me, there's only one thing that I'd change, and that would be to have some kind of level select or password system. During my play here, I made it to level 29 before running out of lives, a mere 9 levels away from the end of the game. The thought that in order to try and do it again, I'd have to start over from the beginning was pretty daunting. Now, of course, the 99 life cheat removes the need for it. But that's a cheat, and maybe you just like level 19 and want to go directly to it. Aside from that though, Eggerland is a lot of fun. If you're into the Lolo games or just puzzle games in general, give it a look. I think you'll like it. Thank you for watching my video, I hope you liked it, and thank you so much to my channel members who picked this game for me. You guys have a great knack for picking games that I like, and I truly appreciate the support. As always, my contact info is in the description, and we'll see you next time on Mike's Gaming Gala.